Good afternoon, boys and girls of all ages. It is a little after 2:31 p.m. live in Los Angeles. Let's go to El Segundo to bring you all the latest news and updates, as well as Anthony Davis being introduced at the podium, along with Rob Pelinka and Coach Frank Vogel. Let's take you to El Segundo with our very own Lakers.
Relationships in this business are everything, and I had an opportunity when I was a player representative to have multiple dealings with Dave Griffin when he was with the Cavaliers. Players I represented like Channing Frye and Dion Waiters were on his team. He carries himself with the utmost professionalism, and I want to thank him for how he handled the dealings. And then Trajan Langdon, their general manager, I co-represented him with Arn Tellem when I was an agent. And again, just the relationship fabric there, I think, helped work through the complications of any transaction for a superstar. Wanted to thank both those guys. And I guess lastly, I want to thank Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram and Josh Hart. Anytime in this business you make a trade for extraordinary value, you have to give up extraordinary value, and that's how we feel about those three players, and we certainly wish them all the best of luck. So thanks for allowing me the time to thank all those people. What we think about Anthony Davis is this: there is no more complete basketball player in the game. There is nothing he can't do. He can shoot, he can make plays, he can defend 1 to 5, he can protect the rim, he can handle the ball. His dedication to his craft is unparalleled. And to sit here next to him and think he's going to be on our team and he's going to be a pillar in this franchise for many years is just something we're incredibly proud of. Not just for what he brings as a basketball player, but who he is as a person. He's a person of excellence, and he's a person that carries himself in a way where actions speak louder than words. His craft is on the court and dominance on the court. He's not out talking a lot. You don't see him talking much in games or really, talking about himself. He just does it with his work. And that's at the core of how we want this team to be this season. And so it's not only his basketball skills, but who he is as a person that makes us so proud today to introduce Anthony Davis as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, Anthony, Jim Hill from CBS 2 and KCAL 9. First of all, congratulations and good luck. Seems like we've been talking about you coming here for months and months now. How relieved are you that it is finally over? And what was the most difficult part of this process for you?
Thank you. I think the most difficult part for me was just not knowing, the unknown. It was whether, I get traded or whether, I go back to New Orleans. So I think the unknown was just the most difficult for me. And then when, it was announced that I was being traded, I won't say it was a sign of relief. It was just, something that, that I thought about for a long time. Obviously, it was tough for me to, leave a city that I've been playing for 7 years, but I think it was, best for me, and it was my time. But when I found out I was getting traded to the Lakers, I realized it was an unbelievable opportunity for me to be here, with a wonderful organization, and then get to play alongside, LeBron, and obviously now the players that we have now. But back then, before, it was really just LeBron here. And so, to get the opportunity to do that, and come here and play for an organization that's all about winning, winning championships, and that's the only goal. I think that was the biggest thing for me, just the relief there of not knowing the unknown anymore and knowing where I was going to be next season.
Hey, Anthony, Mike Trudell with the Lakers and Spectrum. Just wondered how you think that playing alongside LeBron on offense and defense is going to impact your game, just having somebody that's along that same level of skill. And then also wondered, Coach Vogel, if you could address that as well.
The things he do on the floor, pretty amazing. you see it on TV, and you're a fan. When you're a fan of the game, you watch it a lot. And I never really had a chance to experience, playing alongside him. 2012 Olympics, I didn't play as much. I was like the towel guy, just waving towels. And then, we had a little bit of time doing All-Star games, but to get a full season and to see the things that he's able to do, pass, shoot, talks well defensively, he's a great leader. So I'm excited to, get a lot of that, this season and just go from there.
Yeah, and I would say that if you were the towel guy, they were misusing you. I don't care how old you were.
Yeah, right. I was 18 then. Yeah.
In terms of the two of them complementing each other, both are guys that are going to command double teams in any action that you put them in. They're going to draw a lot of attention. So to have a second star to be the counterpunch to each other is really just going to, have the two of them complement each other.
Anthony, you've been seen in cameras, kind of talking with LeBron over the last couple months, and gone to dinner with him. And I was just kind of curious over the last few months, how has that relationship evolved, and was there any sort of words or advice that kind of carried you through the last couple months where you had a lot of uncertainty from him?
No, I mean, a lot of people before the trade happened, speculated that I was coming to the Lakers just because we had dinner. Me and LeBron are close friends, and a lot of people and players in the league are really close with each other off the court. And obviously, if I live here in the summer and he's available, we players tend to go to dinner, and so it was a lot of speculation there. But when it happened, obviously we were both excited, and we haven't really talked much about the team as much. But I know, it's definitely going to get talked about, and try to do whatever we can possible to make this team, a championship team next season, or this season.
Hey, Anthony. Dave McMenamin, ESPN. With all the moves that have happened since you've been traded to the Lakers, it seems like the league is in an arms race. How do you stack up your team against what everything's happening in the league right now?
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun for sure. I'm excited about it. I think the league has grown. I think it's better. All the players, teaming up and kind of spreading that talent throughout the league. It's going to be a fun season. I like our roster. I like every player that we have. From 1 through 15 or 14, 1 through 14. So I'm excited about it, and I'll put our roster up against anybody. I feel like that, in the 7-game series, that we'll come out victorious.
Yeah, Anthony, Bill Plaschke, Los Angeles Times. How are you seeing a long-term commitment to this club? Are you prepared to make a long-term commitment here? How do you view your time here and what is your purpose?
I haven't had much time here, to be honest, but honestly, I'm focused on the season. When I got traded here, my goal is to bring a championship here, with the team that we have. And, when that time comes around next year, then you can ask me that question and we revisit it. But right now, my focus is on this year and trying to figure out how I can help this team and, help this organization become a championship team.
Brad Turner, LA Times. Rob, I was just wondering, when you guys were not able to get a deal done back in February, how difficult or challenging was it for you, the organization, to stay the course and not give up on trying to make this trade?
It's a great question, Brad. I think, again, it kind of goes back to the people involved. I think, Gal Benson was involved, and we appreciate that she just kept an open mind to do what was best for both transactions, for both the best transaction for both organizations. And Jeannie's, her recommendation was, we always want to give value for value when it comes to a trade. It's just, that's how partners operate. And I think when we approached it that way with Mrs. Benson, and then with the relationships I had with David Griffin and Trajan Langdon in particular, I think it just set a new path and a new course to get something done. It was a very professional, open dialogue. These things are never easy. I think for superstars to get traded, there's lots of complications that you have to work through. It's just part of deal making. But with Jeannie's support, with Gail Benson's support, and then working with Trajan Langdon, Dave Griffin, and myself, we were able to come together as a circle and get it done, and we're really excited.
Tanya Ganguli from the LA Times. What were you doing when you were told that it finally went through and you were going to be a Laker?
I was actually in Malibu, and I don't know the name of the hotel, I don't know how to pronounce it. The one right next to Nobu, I was at that hotel. And I was watching a movie, laying in bed watching a movie, and my agent called me, and in the middle of a movie, I don't really like to answer phones and text, so I was like, I'll call him later. Then he called me again, so I did kind of like hit it, like, all right. And then I was like, wait, let me call him back. So when I called him back, it went straight to voicemail. So as me being a 26-year-old, I went straight to Instagram, just started looking, and that's when I saw it. And I was like, oh, and now I'm blowing his phone up now, and we finally talked and just kind of, figured out what happened, and he was telling me what was going on. So yeah, that's what was going on. Huh?
What movie were you watching?
I don't even remember. It was like a blur. It just all happened so fast, I can't even think of the name of it. It was like some sailor movie or something like that. So, I don't know why I was on, but it was pretty interesting.
Hey, Anthony and Frank, Young, ESPN. Was wondering, the Lakers made sure to keep Kyle Kuzma and not trade him in that package for you. I was wondering, what do you see in Kyle Kuzma? Do you think he can kind of be that third guy with you and LeBron? And Frank, I was wondering, what have you seen in Kuzma this summer?
Kuzma's an unbelievable player, a young player who's steadily growing, always working on his craft. Anytime I played against him, it was always great battles. You can shoot it, you can stretch the floor, you can put it down, you can finish. Got some post moves, so I'm very excited about playing alongside him.
And Kuz, I couldn't be more impressed with in all aspects. Everything he's able to do on the basketball court. I'm going to push him to really reach his potential on the defensive end. We know he can fill it up and score in every way imaginable. And he's shown to me very early on that he's very, very coachable. His attitude is a 10 out of 10. He's a team first guy, and he's going to be a major factor for us. Going to play a major role for us.
Anthony, ESPN LA and The Athletic, Andy Kamenetsky. I was wondering if you and LeBron have either talked about or if you just started imagining the leadership dynamic between you guys and how you think it's going to play out as you guys lead this team.
No, we haven't talked about it, but I think that's something that just happens natural. I don't think you talk about, I'm going to be a leader, you're going to be a leader. I think it just happens. And it can happen, not just me and LeBron, it can happen with anybody. I think any player on a team, can step up and say whatever to another player, coach, whatever, if we're all family trying to reach the same goal. Guys are going to challenge each other. There's going to be times where LeBron challenges me, I challenge him, and, so on and so forth with the rest of the players on the team. But it just doesn't have to be, Rondo's an excellent leader. So you have other guys on the team who can lead as well. And I think, 1 through, 14, guys are, more than welcome to challenge other players and to better the team.
Anthony, back here. Dylan Hernandez of the LA Times. Obviously, a lot of times it's kind of a circusy-like atmosphere around this team. Also, there were a lot of reports about just kind of dysfunction in the front office and that kind of stuff. And I was wondering, did you have any reservations about coming here? And if not, why not? And what has LeBron kind of told you about what the culture is like here?
We haven't even talked about it. And, that's not my concern. I wasn't here last year when they were saying this and that. It wasn't my problem. I'm here now. I haven't seen any of it. And so I'm happy to get started, and take this season head on with the goal of winning the championship.
Kyle Goon, Orange County Register. Anthony, what went into the decision to waive your trade kicker?
Obviously, anytime you're able to acquire a player like Kawhi, I think you have to do almost everything to, get a guy like that. Obviously, it didn't work out for us, but, I still wanted to make sure I did whatever to help the team. And that $4 million was to, add more money to a player's contract that they wanted, or get another guy. Then by all means, I was willing to do that. And I think we did a great job of using that, throughout the entire team.
I'll just add to that. I mean, it was an incredibly team-focused, sacrificial move by Anthony. But and I alluded to this yesterday on the conference call, when he made that move, we had the space that we had. He can attest to this, but he and I and LeBron talked so much about, hey, how do we want to optimize that space? And we saw there were sort of two routes to do it. One is to get a third star, but the other is to take that depth route and build a really deep, versatile roster. And I think the collaboration, I mean, how many calls did we have between me, you, and LeBron?
Every day, on the hour.
Yeah, on the hour, just making sure that when he made that sacrifice, that really every dollar would be used in a way that he felt good about. And so I think that was a great process.
Anthony, just a kind of a side-like question because it got some attention. You announced on Instagram last night. Can you take us through thinking you're going to wear number 23 this year, and now you're going to be wearing number 3?
Yeah. That was pretty hurtful, to be honest. They sent me a list of numbers, and I didn't know what to choose. None of them looked right, so went on like 2K and put all the numbers on my name. But obviously, we have rules, and the rule is, I think by March, whatever, the 15th or something like that, that you have to make a request to change your number. So it is what it is. But the first number that I ever wore was number 3, and I put another picture on Instagram today of me wearing that number when I was in 7th grade. So when I saw the number was available, kind of just wanted to take it all the way back to where it first started and put that number back on.
So there you have it, Rob Pelinka introducing Anthony Davis as the new Laker, as well as Frank Vogel, live in El Segundo a couple hours ago. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yours truly, Eddie G. We will be back with more of the NBA news and updates. Peace, and we are out.